You're listening to the Wrestlebread podcast.
Yowie wowie! With 1 beer, 2 beers.
You just went Austin 360. Meets Pillman. Oh my God.
Tony?
Yeah.
Cut the shit.
How many red carpets you guys want to walk in your $4,000 ridiculous heels? You will never be able to lace up my Chuck Taylors.
This is your fault. This is your fault.
I didn't get mad when you stole all my moves.
Your daddy's not here anymore.
How was your movie, by the way? I missed it.
Mine went straight to DVD, just like yours.
Careful you don't hurt your neck again going through those ropes.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever.
You're listening
What
to
is
the
going on,
Wrestlebread
guys?
podcast.
This is Jaydee, and this is episode 176 of the Wrestlebread podcast. So we have some things going on. We got Revolution coming this weekend. We are still on the road to Wrestlemania. There has been some rumors. There has been some stuff that's went down and some things that happened on Smackdown, Raw, and Dynamite this week. So let's get right into it. So since we have Revolution coming this weekend, I'm going to leave my predictions and review of Dynamite for last. But first, let's get into some rumors. So according to PW Insider, WWE's King and Queen of the Ring event will take place in Saudi Arabia in May. Apparently it's supposed to be like maybe the last week of May or something like that. But, you know, just like I had said previously, I'm very happy that they brought back the King and Queen of the Ring. I just wish that it was in America, especially when Xavier Woods had won King of the Ring, because we all know how much it meant to him. It was a dream of his. It's like where people wanted to win the title and stuff like that. He just wanted to be King of the Ring. You know, I guess we can't complain about everything. There is also another rumor that people are unhappy with Triple H because of celebs and part-timers getting Mania spots, and especially the fact that because the way Triple H books pay-per-views, this WrestleMania is going to have fewer matches, not as much of a big clusterfuck as WrestleMania has been for these past couple of years, where everybody gets booked on there. It's kind of back to the way it was before, where you pretty much have to kind of like earn your spot onto WrestleMania. Of course, people are going to be mad or something like that. You know, sometimes with these type of rumors, it could simply be, you know, people are unhappy, and it could be simply you find out like it was like Jinder Mahal and Shanky who complained about it. You know what I mean? It is what it is, truthfully. I understand people want to be on WrestleMania for, you know, the big payday and everything like that. And this time around, like for the past few years since the pandemic, it's now 2 nights, so there is more opportunity for people to appear on the pay-per-view, especially if they decide to do a pre-show or something like that, and they just throw the Andre the Giant Memorial match on there. But still, I don't want to have happen of what we experienced at WrestleMania 35, where the pay-per-view was like almost 6 hours and you was just like dead tired by the end of it. I don't really mind these shorter pay-per-views because it's more quality over quantity. If you want to be on the pay-per-view, you know, you kind of gotta work your magic and kind of get over with the fans. And hopefully that you'll be booked on there. So maybe they'll switch it up, that it'll be a bigger, you know, pay cut if you appear on the SmackDown before Mania and the Raw after Mania, maybe. Consistently, there's always been part-timers and celebrities. It always happens. My question, though, and I'll also get more into it when I talk about my review for Raw, are people going to be just as upset this time around with part-timers and celebs coming into WrestleMania as we have happened with previous years? You know, we had Lita winning the tag team titles. We have Trish coming back. We have Cena appearing, Logan Paul, Brock Lesnar, of course. And then who knows what else is going to happen for WrestleMania. Are you just as upset that these part-timers and celebrities are taking spots from other wrestlers? Or you don't mind it at all because now it's Triple H in booking? For me, I didn't like it when it was part-timers coming in for like main events and stuff like that. like we had The Rock and John Cena. They announced their match 1 year before it even happened, and it just happened again and again. And then when The Rock came back and went against CM Punk for the title, and CM Punk at that time had a very lengthy title reign, that The Rock came in, defeated him, and The Rock went on to defend the title at WrestleMania against John Cena, which was like, we don't really need a title for this. I'm just very curious if people feel some type of way about these part-timers and celebrities coming back for these spots. And then there was, of course, a rumor that Vince McMahon is behind Brock Lesnar versus Omos, which I thought was pretty interesting, that Vince McMahon, demanded just one match for WrestleMania. I mean, the guy who really loves control of things sat there and tapped Triple H on the shoulder and said, hey, I just want you to book this one match. I need meat against meat. Can you put Lesnar against Omos? However, now I forgot who said that it was Vince McMahon. But it was someone who it was some Twitter account that had mentioned, but there were people who were starting to say that Vince McMahon was the reason behind Brock Lesnar versus Omos, which to me really didn't make sense, that Vince McMahon only had his hands in just one match instead of like multiple things. Like if it was, Vince, we would have heard about the Andre the Giant Memorial being on WrestleMania. We would have heard about matches happening during the pre-show. We would have had the pre-show be even longer. But according to Wrestle Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer mentioned that actually it's not Vince McMahon that made the Lesnar versus Omos happen. Actually, it was the fact that Brock Lesnar refused to work with Bray Wyatt. And I quote, "This was not the original idea, but an idea for Brock Lesnar was Brock Lesnar and Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania. And Brock said no to that one. For Brock Lesnar, being involved in that hocus pocus with the aura that he has, Brock's aura is being real. So the idea of putting Brock in there with Bray Wyatt as a booking idea was on the surface a very bad idea. And Brock knew it and turned it down. So originally what was going to happen was Brock was beating Bobby Lashley at Elimination Chamber, and that was going to lead to Brock versus Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania. And that's why Bray Wyatt did that interview. But after they did that, they had to change the finish. And Bobby Lashley has a semi-real aura too, but it's not like Brock Lesnar's. And they don't have the money invested in him. So, and Bobby's not a guy who's just going to say no. And it changed from Wyatt, but Wyatt had also been the change. So I don't know who Lesnar's original opponent was, but it was not Gunther. So this makes a lot more sense to me because Brock Lesnar is one of the realest people ever. The most supernatural stuff, if I recall correctly, that he has dealt with was The Undertaker. And even with that, it wasn't as many mind games that we would normally see from The Undertaker. And there were people who's like, oh, I wish that Brock Lesnar could have did the Firefly Funhouse and stuff like that. But let's be honest, when Brock is willing to, sell and do the story and stuff like that, he does a great job. But it would be a bit silly to see Brock Lesnar in the Firefly Funhouse and not just choke slamming the shit out of someone. This story from Dave Meltzer saying that it was actually Brock Lesnar who had said no, that makes a little bit more sense than Vince McMahon coming in to announce one match on the card. I'm still not understanding the thinking behind Omos versus Brock Lesnar. It could easily come out that, it's Brock Lesnar's idea to work with Omos. Who knows? But speaking of that, let's get into what happened at, let's start off with SmackDown first off, before I get into Raw. So we had a very interesting segment with Charlotte and that convicted felon, Dom. Dom coming in, giving compliments to Charlotte, saying, you're very beautiful, this, that, and the third, but mommy, first of all, he said, mommy breaks backs. And I was like, oh, gasp, Rhea breaks backs? He started getting a little weird. So sometimes, I give props to Dom. When Dom is able to be the convicted felon and stuff like that and be that obnoxious character, it works. But I have to say, during this segment, he was sitting there smiling and stuff like that. So it was like, I don't know, like what he was saying didn't come off like threatening or anything like that. It was like, you know how you have the friend that is trying to be threatening, but they're smiling and it makes it feel like they're like joking around and stuff like that. That's how it felt to me. So he's sitting here talking about how, she can do things and stuff like that. And Charlotte kind of cut him off and was like, I have a daddy and he has a thicker accent, a way thicker accent. And I was like, okay, shout out to Andrade. And then Rhea comes out. We didn't hear anything from Rhea Ripley. She kind of like got in her face, and that convicted felon Dom was holding her back. And then, the real story though is on Twitter when Buddy Matthews was like, yo, do I need to come over there and whoop somebody's ass? And I was like, dude, come do it. I would love to see Buddy Matthews whip the convicted felon Dom's ass. I'm all for it. We also had the Firefly Funhouse that they had announced, and that bad boy happened a week ago. And I still have no idea what the hell it was about. I have no idea what I was watching. And, at that time, I admit, it's Friday night. The mood is right. Gonna have some fun. Showed how done TGIF. And I didn't really feel like racking my brain on trying to figure out what the hell was going on with this Firefly Funhouse. Was I having some mom juice? Yes, I was. Did I go on Twitter to try to figure out, from the FBI Twitter agents, what was going on with this Firefly Funhouse? Yes. And they even didn't even know. It was people who was kind of breaking it down because apparently there was a segment where the door opened and then it was like, yeah, this Alexa Bliss and it's about Uncle Howdy's in it, and this is about Bobby Lashley and stuff. And I was like, can somebody explain to me what the secret is? It was something that Triple H had said, and I'm really starting to see it, how the big issue with Bray Wyatt is that he is like so creative that he doesn't know how to like hone in all the creative ideas. We still don't know what the hell his character is. We don't know what the hell this Uncle Howdy is. Is he a friend? Is he a foe? Is he really someone's uncle? Like, I don't know what it is. What's going on with Alexa Bliss? There's like so many things that needs to be answered with Bray Wyatt. And I feel like the path to WrestleMania might not be enough time to answer all these questions. Then it's like, are we back to the Firefly Funhouse? Where's the Fiend? There's just a lot of questions here. And I feel like things were kind of lost with the feud with LA Knight because we could have got a lot of answers and say, okay, this is who Bray Wyatt is. Or are we dealing with a Bray Wyatt that has like multiple personalities? And that's what the Wyatt 6 is. You know what I mean? I'm just confused about that. And then we completely forget about Alexa Bliss. Like, what is going on with her? She wasn't even on the show. I don't know what's going on. And it just feels like now we're deflecting to Bobby Lashley instead of kind of like we're getting a little bit AEW with, not wrapping the story up in a better way. Like now we got Bobby Lashley coming in, and I'm sure after this feud with him at WrestleMania, we're still going to have questions of who the heck Bray Wyatt is and what Uncle Howdy is and the relationship with Alexa Bliss. Because Alexa Bliss was the one that pretty much killed off the Fiend, if I remember correctly, from that WrestleMania. And so it's like, well, you kind of got to answer that too. So it's just a lot that is going on as well. We had Ray, I believe he went against Karrion Kross. And then we had Dominic Mysterio because they were on the same show. Dominic comes in and distracts Rey Mysterio, and that's what caused win by Karrion Kross by submission. And then Dominic started to get in his dad's face and mug him and stuff like that. And Rey was like, no, he's not going to do anything. Listen, Rey Mysterio needs to control his kid, okay? In inspiring words of Mark Henry, somebody needs to get their ass whipped. Dominic was probably that damn toddler that was screaming in the store because he didn't get the toy. And instead of, telling your kid, now don't promote violence, but instead of sitting there telling your kid, like, put your foot down, get with your kid, you buy the damn toy. And I'm like, I need you to control your kid. Your kid is a convicted felon. I understand that Dominic stands over his dad, but it's like Rey Mysterio fought against Big Show. Like, Rey Mysterio fought against a couple of giants. I'm not understanding why we stopping with Dominic. It's like, in every son's life, I'm assuming that eventually they step to their dad because they feel in themselves. And I feel like that's what Dominic is going through. He's feeling himself. He got himself a little girlfriend. He is now with the cool kids. Like I said, it's the Disney villain arc, He's with the cool kids, stuff like that, doing the bad things and everything. He just needs to be taken down a couple of notches. And I feel like, Rey Mysterio needs to do that. Like, you gotta take your kid down, man. You gotta express dominance. I can tell him how to do it. Now, not that I I don't hit my kids or anything like that, but I put the fear of God in them enough that when they would like act up and stuff like that in the store, I could just look at them. I would give them the mom look. And they'll settle down because they know, okay, she means business and I'm not about to do that. I can teach Rey Mysterio what to do. I can give a class. We'll do it over Zoom or Skype or whatever it is that you would like to do. And we could sell this within 2 weeks. That's my opinion. But yeah, we got that convicted felon, Dominic, feeling himself definitely because he got the hot girl and he's with the cool kids, stuff like that. He went to jail a little bit, think he got some street cred, and, he probably was a suburbs kid all his life. As we all know, it's going to go down to WrestleMania, Mysterio versus Mysterio, and we'll talk more deep into that as we are unrolling this story between father and son. We also had, first of all, more of the bloodline, and it's just a shame that this is kind of slowly coming to the end because they do have to bring in Cody Rhodes with all this, and the attention really can't be on Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns. So I see that they're slowly putting in Sami Zayn with the Uso. Jimmy Uso needed to talk to his brother. Jimmy and Solo was there. Sami Zayn comes in. They go to the fighting. Well, no, they get to the talking. Jey Uso was in the crowd. They both look off and stuff like that. It looks like Jey Uso is still conflicted. I feel like it's a little too late to try to ask for Uso versus Uso for Mania. I'm fine with it for SummerSlam. But this does seem like we're going towards Usos versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Eventually, Sami Zayn's going to get his ass whooped a hell of a lot. And then KO is going to come out and look, I'll take them down. The question is, though, it is very interesting with Usos being a bit conflicted and stuff like that of what is happening with the tag team titles. So I'm guessing this is where eventually, I guess they'll lose the tag team titles at WrestleMania and kind of cool off a bit, especially since Roman Reigns more likely is going to take a nice lengthy break after WrestleMania after holding it down for 2 years. There are people who are very interested on Roman Reigns holding the title for 1,000 days. The thing is, in order for him to hold the title for 1,000 days, he would have to defeat the one and only Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. And there are a few people who think that may happen. Now, as far as with me, I feel like if Cody Rhodes was to, I don't know, it just feels like it would be a waste to do this whole thing with Cody Rhodes. They're really building it up for Cody to win. So it'll be like a big swerve and a big shock if Roman Reigns was to retain. But like I had said previously, when people were upset of Roman Reigns retaining at Elimination Chamber, this story with Roman Reigns' title reign has to end at WrestleMania. That is the biggest point of the year of booking that this can end at. Anything else, yeah, it can end at any point, and we've seen it happen, but the man held the title for 2 years. He defeated damn near everyone on the roster. He defeated some people 2 to 3 times during this 2-year period. If he is dropping it, he's going to drop it at WrestleMania. And all signs point to him dropping it at WrestleMania, especially the fact he wants to take that vacation. Perfect time to take that vacation is after WrestleMania. Give the title to the one and only Cody Rhodes. Let Cody Rhodes cut the promo, cry, talk about how he cured racism and all that other stuff, and let him carry on with the company. We'll see how things turn out. I'm very interested to see how his title reign is going to look like. And I just wonder if people are going to get tired of, eventually going to see the same thing over and over again. Now, getting to Raw, we had started out with Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa going against the Street Profits, which was a great match. First of all, I am a sucker for tag team matches, especially really good ones. I'm sure it felt very special for Jimmy Uso to be teaming up with his little brother. I figured that was pretty special. And it kind of gives a bit look at if Jey Uso was to step away of what could happen, of the way that the bloodline can try to continue. Who knows? We also had the MVP Lounge, where we had Brock Lesnar, who came out first, and that was a pretty funny segment. MVP's a sucker for believing that Brock Lesnar wasn't going to do anything. He, of course, ended up getting the F5 because, it was actually on MVP's part, because one thing you don't do is you don't drink from someone if you don't know what the drink is. That is straight up peer pressure 101. If you see a man like Brock Lesnar is a mountain, okay? He can F5 20 people at once. If he takes a gulp of something and starts making faces and shaking and go, woo, what do you think that's going to do to your smaller ass? I would have been dead, okay? So that was on MVP. He should have known, as many years he has been on this earth, to know if alcohol affects that person that way, obviously it's going to do something worse to me. And MVP tried to take that shot, the gulp, and then he spit it out towards Brock Lesnar's face, which was like, bro, come on. There are way smarter decisions to make than to do that. So then, of course, MVP got the F5. Brock Lesnar had accepted the match going against Omos at WrestleMania. Now, this match could surprise everyone and be a pretty good hard-hitting match. So I'm not going to put it down completely. I just would like to know I wanted to know the story behind this. And like I had said, I'ma just wait and see before I sit here and completely complain about it. Because there are plenty of matches that fans have complained about that ended up being pretty damn good and pretty much shut everyone up. So Brock Lesnar in this segment was sounding like one of those after school PSAs, like, come on, guys. Come on, won't you try a little sip of my drink? If you are an old head like me, you definitely know the Dare. You know what Dare is. And seeing the commercials of this is your brain on drugs, have any questions. And you definitely was hyped when you saw the TV on the TV stand with the wheels rolling into your classroom. You thought it was about to be movie night. Come to find out they're playing some type of, PSA or something like that. And it was always the kid with a bit of bad acting that really wanted to try hard to sit there and say, he's walking down the street with his friends, stuff like that. And you see, someone looking very sketchy who's like, hey kids, do you want to try some drugs? Come on, it'll make you feel good. I know you all saw that commercial. I know I just unlocked a memory for you. That's exactly how Brock Lesnar was in this segment. Going next, we had Cody Rhodes versus Chad Gable, which I knew was going to be a great match on paper. Chad Gable is amazing. I really miss American Alpha. And I really wish that Chad Gable really give that man a title, please. But this was a pretty good match. And I'm sure that you're like I said, I am president of the Cody Rhodes Hater Club. But I don't watch, I'm not watching to completely hate on him. he is a great babyface. He really is, I will say. He is very good at babyfacing. Like I keep saying, sometimes he does the over babyfacing a lot. Sells very good and everything like that. I think people are going to love him once he wins the title and everything. But however, he kind of gives me the John Cena vibes. And I mean that in the, Cena, LOL, I retain the title and everything. But, with Cena kind of had no choice because he had to stay face because he was the face of a whole era. And there were so many kids that love him, stuff like that, and sell the t-shirts and everything. He was the moneymaker because that was the void that was missing when Hulk Hogan had left the company. They tried to do it with Bret Hart. They tried to do it with Shawn Michaels at a point. They even tried to do it weirdly with The Undertaker, but The Undertaker really isn't something that you would show your 3-year-old and say, hey, kid, cheer for this guy. So Cena kind of filled in that role, Make-A-Wish and stuff like that. So he kind of had no choice, but he respected the fact that he was booed. He even had fun with the people that booed. He made jokes and stuff like that to the point you go like, you know what? I respect you. That was pretty good. And then, come on, when he went against AJ Styles and stuff like that, he has his moments and stuff. I just feel like with Cody Rhodes, it's more like, it's a me type of situation. And I feel like after a while, like fans are today, when someone gets that title and stuff like that, after a couple of months, it gets stale, they get tired, and they're done with it. Now, WWE does have a much casual crowd to where as though, you could probably still hear the cheers and stuff like that. But eventually there's going to be some boos. And unlike AEW, you don't have that strong connection with the owner and booker to where as though you can sit there and try and negotiate your way and be able to try to win the fans over by lighting a damn table on fire and doing some crazy shit to try to get fans to pop for you at once. That's my issue with Cody Rhodes. But if he had just, when he was in AEW, if he had just been the Homelander type of character, or even the delusional babyface, soon as he had turned heel, he would have got cheered, which is the craziest thing. But because he wants to be that babyface, very similar to his dad, where it's like, the babyface never turned heel, you kiss the babies and things like that, that sometimes can work. But with today's fans, especially in certain markets, it doesn't really work because it's not real. And that was, it really hit me. That was the thing that I didn't really like. I wasn't a Hulk Hogan fan. I respected Hulk Hogan and his contributions to everything, but I was not a Hulk Hogan fan. Especially the pay-per-view that I first saw him, which was WrestleMania 9. If you know, I was a slight Bret Hart fan, so so that probably would explain why I didn't rock with Hulk Hogan from the get-go. And it was people who loved Hulk Hogan. I didn't really like Hulk Hogan because I was like, this feels like, if it didn't really feel weird that, you're like this happy-go-lucky guy all the time. Like, it kind of felt fake to me, which I'm realizing is kind of like a weird thing to have at, 9 years old with that. But yeah, I wasn't really the biggest fan of Hulk Hogan. And Cody Rhodes kind of gives me vibes like that. Like, yeah, like very like, say your vitamins, eat your prayers type of thing. And it would work. It works perfectly with kids, but with adults, I know adults who are fans of Cody Rhodes and stuff like that. Nothing against you guys or anything like that. I'm just saying, I just have a sour taste in my mouth from what happened in AEW that, he didn't like it. I mean, he did the right thing. If you don't like it, then leave type of situation. But it's like, what happens when this happens again? Eventually, the fans will turn on you. It happens all the time. I just want to know his reaction to it. That will determine if my haterade is, valid or not. But going back to Raw, the match between him and Chad Gable was pretty good. And you know what? The funny thing, Maximum Male Models is actually growing on me as a ridiculous comedy act. I remember when they first came about, especially with LA Knight, and I was pissed off like hell. And Seeing, you know what really helped too? I watched Up, Up, Down, Down, and Monse and Monsoir were on there, and they are freaking hilarious. And then I saw the YouTube videos that they put out, the Maximum Male Models with, I believe her name is Maxine. I saw the YouTube videos with them in it, and it's just like so ridiculous. It's like one of those ridiculously bad that it's funny and good type of situations. And so they have been growing on me as like a legit ridiculous comedy act. Kind of more like R-Truth type of comedy. Speaking of R-Truth, I went to his YouTube channel because I was watching, like I said, I watched Up, Up, Down, Down. And they had mentioned a song that he came out with. And it was like some type of line dance song, which I checked the video out for. And then I checked out this other song called, I believe it was called Hit It Off or Set It Off or something like that. And wow, it was a pretty good song. And I'm sitting here like, you know, it's really a shame that we couldn't really get R-Truth outside the comedy act. Like, he had the TNA run and stuff like that, and had the title, and had, you know, the title there and stuff. But gosh, it would never really work in WWE because he has been such a comedy act for so long. Like, they can try to do him coming back and then just like switch and be like, you know, you guys held me down and made fun of me and stuff like that. But gosh, it probably will not work. But I just wish that we could have, you know, just get them all out. Just mark it. Just pull a Mark Henry, you know, announce that it's your retirement, put on the salmon coat, announce that you're retiring, and just beat up someone. I just wish that we had that. But you know, it is what it is. I'm happy for R-Truth. If it makes him happy, if he like it, I love it type of situation. We also had Asuka versus Carmella. There were some people who were upset about the way Corey Graves was on commentary with Carmella. And it's like, y'all do realize he's married to this woman. Like, if you were in Corey Graves' shoes and you had a woman like Carmella, you would be hyping her up too. So I don't know why people have an issue with it. I find it funny that he sit there and shush the other guy. I keep forgetting his name. Kevin or something like that. I like when he keeps shushing him up because, you know, he talks a little bit less. Like, that's his wife. Let him hype her up. I mean, The Miz does the same thing with Maurice. I don't know. People just being weird. It's just people are trying to keep the same energy of not liking Corey Graves and Carmella. Now I really appreciate Carmella for, you know, out here wrestling, stuff like that, especially all that has happened in her personal life. Props to her. Psycho Asuka. I love Asuka. Whooped her ass anyway. And then comes out Bianca Belair with that outfit. Now, I said I needed her to drop the leg workout. She was on Sheamus's workout YouTube channel, and they did a leg workout. The leg, it was like glutes, but it was a leg workout, and I wrote down that fucking workout, because hot damn Bianca Belair. Like, she had, and I know she makes her own outfits, and she came out with this outfit that she was looking like drop dead gorgeous with the outfit on. And I was like, you know, all of us women, if we had the body like that, we probably would wear shit like that too. I'm still waiting for her to drop the fashion line of her stuff. The day that she drops the fashion line, I will buy it. Because her outfits be nice. Even when she made a Montez Ford outfit for Elimination Chamber, and it was really nice. And I'm like, she definitely has a career outside of wrestling. Like, I'm waiting for the outfits. We also had Candice LeRae, who went against Piper Niven, and Nikki Cross was following her because Nikki just wants a friend. Everybody's just waiting for Sanity to come back because Triple H is bringing back every damn body that was let go. Who knows? Maybe it would just be a simple tag team between Nikki and Candice LeRae, or they could be bringing back Sanity, but who knows about that. We also had Seth Rollins appearing on Miz TV, and, you know, Seth Rollins coming out with my newest favorite phrase. You know, Seth Rollins and The Miz going back and forth. And The Miz talked about Logan Paul and stuff like that. Seth Rollins then took The Miz's phone and went to FaceTime Logan Paul, who picked up and everything. But the funniest thing was that they were showing over the shoulder of Seth Rollins the shot of him holding the phone. Steadiest hand I ever seen in my life. You know, that phone was steady, and the cameraman, I need to know what superpowers they had. It probably was Invisible Man or something like that. Maybe it could have been Harry Potter with the invisibility cloak or something like that, because they kept cutting back to Seth Rollins and there was no cameraman behind him. So, or it could have been a very high powered satellite type of camera that was able to zoom in and perfect shot, so we could see that Logan Paul is on the phone talking and everything. I do give WWE some kudos for Seth. Actually, I give Seth Rollins kudos for having the steadiest hand in the history of mankind. Normally, you know, your hand kind of shake a bit, something like that. You know, kind of want to make sure you grip the phone, make sure you have the phone tightly and stuff like that. But yeah, wow, you know. And it was a little weird because the coloration on the hand of Seth Rollins, you know, in one shot was slightly different of that zoomed in shot of him holding the phone. And then, you know, it was just like some really nice camera work that, you know, the background wasn't moving or anything at all as well. Props to Seth Rollins. He really needs to drop the hand exercise plan of how he's able to like hold a phone very steady. You sometimes your finger will slip up and stuff like that. You know, sometimes you adjust the phone a little bit, so, you know, maybe there's a little bit of lighting and stuff. But wow, you know, kudos to Seth Rollins for all that. We also had Bobby Lashley going against Elias. Going back to Seth Rollins, I meant to say, he said the words "bye bye bitch," and I popped for that. I would like to say that, but I don't think that's a very nice way to end phone calls with your mom. I would love to say "bye bye bitch" when I get off the phone or something like that. Like, hey, bye bye bitch. It's not gonna go with mom. I know that part. Maybe with friends and stuff like that. Can't do that at work. I'll definitely get fired if I'm on the phone with a customer and I say, hey, I just want to say thank you so much for calling and bye bye bitch. I was thinking like even ending my podcast episodes is like, thank you so much for listening and bye bye bitch. I might do it. Who knows? And then we also had in the main event, we had the tag team match of Becky Lynch and Lita going against Damage Control for the women's tag team titles. We had Bayley ringside and stuff like that. We also had, it was like a botched DDT that we had, solid moonsault from Io Sky, of course, and from Lita as well. I was a little bit nervous of Lita going up for the moonsault because I was like, okay, first of all, Io Sky is a little bit far away. And then we had Dakota who tried to knock Lita down and Lita was trying to knock her down. And I was like, I hope she can get this moonsault off correctly. But then just randomly, with Bayley trying to interfere and stuff like that, Trish Stratus music kind of hits and then she just runs out to the ring and takes out Bayley. So it was offense going on both teams. Stratus then taking out Bayley again. And then Lita went for the moonsault and they won the titles, which I'm like, this is very random. Now, if someone wants to be upset about something, they can be upset about that we have Becky Lynch and Lita winning the tag team titles. Now, I know this was booked simply for Lita to win the women's tag team title. Becky Lynch get the dream of teaming up with Lita and stuff like that. But this does seem like this is going towards a 6-woman tag match, which really didn't need the title to change hands in order for this to happen. We could have easily had Trish come out and cheat, and then we had Bayley come out and, you know, Bayley make a distraction, and then Damage Control wins and retains the title. And that could lead to, hey, let's do this 6-woman tag match to kind of, you know, get back at the fact of Bayley interfering type of situation. You know what I mean? But I know it's just, that's how it is sometimes when you have legends coming back, that normally the babyface would win. But I felt as though it would be pretty interesting for Damage Control to kind of can retain here, and then it leads to the 6-woman tag match. Because we're going to have this 6-woman tag match at WrestleMania, and I'm assuming Lita and Becky are eventually going to have to lose these titles. Probably, Raw after Mania or something like that? Is Lita planning on staying for that long to where as though they're actually, like, defending the titles that often? So, obviously, this feels like Becky Lynch and Lita are placeholders. So it's like, okay, what tag team is going to take the belts off of them after that? No idea. But overall, between SmackDown and Raw, Raw was a pretty solid Raw. Of course, as always with Raw, there are a few segments that's like, we kind of don't really need this here type of situation. Same with SmackDown as well. The Firefly Funhouse segment was very confusing to me. I have no idea what that segment was about. No idea what are we doing here with, what is the secret with Bobby Lashley and everything? And I don't know. It may be a pretty good match come WrestleMania, but it's just the build that I'm kind of questioning. I did not watch any of NXT, so I have no actual predictions for next week's Roadblock. I am looking towards the Mania NXT event, but I didn't even realize until until this week actually that next week is a NXT special. I do know that we're gonna have Grayson Waller's show, that Shawn Michaels is going to be on there, so I don't know if they're going to be that crazy enough to have Shawn Michaels come out of retirement again to go against Grayson Waller. There is the rumor out there that Shawn Michaels will introduce someone who will debut to go against Grayson Waller. I forgot who it was. There's someone that they signed recently. Of course, because this is something special, this is a 5-match special. Of course, probably more, with promos and stuff like that. Very interesting. I did see that Jinder Mahal is with NXT and that he went against Braun Breaker for the title. Of course, Braun Breaker retained. But I thought it was very interesting to have Jinder Mahal in NXT. I didn't get a chance to really check it out like that, of him being down there. But I thought it was pretty interesting as well. So I'll check out NXT Roadblock and I'll give my review for it along with AEW Revolution as well. So speaking of AEW Revolution, let's get into not only the recap of AEW Dynamite, which was overall, it was overall a fine show, but we're also going to get into my predictions for the AEW Revolution, which as of now, if they announce anything on Rampage, I completely missed because there's no Jade Cargill match announced here, but it does look like we have about 7-8 matches, I think, here. Which at first I was like, oh wow, it's not like 10 or anything like that they normally have. And then I remembered, oh shit, one of those matches is an hour-long Iron Man match. Don't know how that's going to turn out. So starting off, we had opening Orange Cassidy going against Big Bill. I don't know why I thought his name was Big Will. But we had Big Bill, who looks awesome, by the way. He looks so much better now than he did when he was in WWE. And Orange Cassidy, of course, as popular as he was, still champ at the end. Stokely Hathaway cracks me the fuck up. He's the funniest person on Twitter. I don't know if this had appeared on an episode of Rampage or Dynamite or something like that, or if this was like something even older, but he had posted on his Twitter like this video segment of him. I guess it was one of those vignettes or something, and he said the biggest crime to ever be committed is dick riding without a license. I cracked up for like 10 minutes after hearing that. But this was I would say a good opener. After that, we had the Face of the Revolution ladder match. I told you I like my spots. I like my stories. I love my spots. safe spots, I would say, because there was a very big botch in this match. I love my luchas. And you would be surprised. You would have thought that I would have been watching Lucha Underground all the time, which I wasn't. I should go back and just watch it from season 1 through. And I should be watching AAA, which I haven't been able to really catch AAA like that. But I do plan to eventually go and start watching some of the AAA Triple-Manias, because I did hear that their champion is, he is one of my favorites. But Commander, I am a fan. That motherfucker is on a whole other level. I thought Rey Fenix was an alien. Commander is from a different fucking galaxy. Like, he was on the turnbuckle, and it looked like he was about to do the old school without holding anyone's hands, right? They did a wide shot, and you see the people, you know how the wrestlers are like bro hugging. Well, not bro hugging, but they're like in a huddle and shit because they're about to catch the person. That's what they were doing. And I'm sitting here like, what is Commander about to do? And then I pop because I'm like, is he about to run these fucking ropes across, run type rope across and jump on them? And then he ran the rope and did a flip onto the wrestlers outside the ring. And I popped for it. And I was like, Undertaker probably disapproves the shit out of this. Because Commander saw Undertaker's old school move and was like, you know what? I will take that and raise it to 5,000. I never seen anything like that. And I know how hard it is to balance on a rope. Hell, it's hard for me to balance on one leg. And this man ran across the rope. And since I saw the people who were in it, we had Hobbs, we have Action Andretti, we had Sammy Guevara, Konosuke, we had AR Fox, we had Commander, Eddie Kingston, and Ortiz. First of all, I didn't even know Eddie Kingston was in the match at first. I saw him fighting a little bit against Ortiz, and then they were just gone. And it's like, what the hell? I like Eddie Kingston. First of all, of course, the spot that everyone talked about, Action Andretti went to do Phoenix Splash, I believe it was, on to the ladder bridge, but he completely missed it. I don't know if he was trying to hold on to the ladder and had Sammy with like one arm or something like that, but he didn't turn all the way. And so he tried to slam onto the ladder bridge, didn't turn around all the way, and so it looked like Sammy hit his head hard on the ladder. Action Andretti, because he didn't land flat on the ladder, his leg got caught in the ladder, immediately rolled to the outside, both of them. I was hoping that they were okay. Action Andretti showing us that he don't give a fuck about his body, because he was back in there still doing some crazy stuff. Konosuke did a fucking blue thunder bomb from the ladder. I think it was on Action Andretti. It may have been on Commander. I'm not 100% sure. And then fucking Sammy Guevara doing standing on top of a tall ass ladder. Well, I guess you could call it a swanton bomb. Onto Action Andretti, who was on a ladder on the floor. Gosh, spot fests are always so fun. A bit weird, though, that we're still doing the Sonic ring. I know that this was a joke because of Vince McMahon with the brass ring and shit. And you wanted to do the brass ring to kind of put in his face. Like, I could put over people too. Even though you technically didn't, because Scorpio Sky won the damn Sonic ring. And that went nowhere. But maybe we should switch it up next time. Take away the Sonic ring. Because it does look like, an inflatable donut that you would see at a beach. And we switch it to something else. What you say? I don't know. Make it not really a briefcase, but make it a fucking clipboard or something. They can figure out something. They have diamond rings and cash and all that other shit. They can figure something else out. Hell, let it be a headband or something. Or a hat that says Face of Revolution. Or a jacket or something. Just hang something else up there besides the Sonic ring. In the end, Konosuke was about to go up the ladder, and then Powerhouse Hobbs just trucks through him, bent the hell out of the ladder. And he could have grabbed another ladder, he probably was shocked as hell by his own strength that he bent the hell out of the ladder. We had the Zebras come in to hold it down, the ladder for Hobbs. Hobbs, of course, was the favorite because it was his hometown. And he retrieved the Sonic Ring and, cue the Sonic end stage music and stuff. And so there we have that. Samoa Joe was on commentary, so Powerhouse Hobbs go up the ramp to kind of kind of talk shit to Samoa Joe because he is going to face whoever is the champion on next week's Dynamite. So then here comes Wardlow, and it's like, okay, we have to do the thing because we have the pay-per-view coming up, so now we have to have people come out and start fighting and shit like that, and have the Rent-A-Cops come out and try to hold people back. And that's what we did. We had Wardlow who went and powerbombed one of the guards onto the other guards below. Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe is a smart wrestler, okay? While Wardlow was sitting there fucking around with the security guards, Samoa Joe said, you know what, I'm the fuck out. And he just walks away. And you see Wardlow looking around like, where did he go? Like, bro, he left while you was sitting there fumbling around and trying to powerbomb like 6 security guards. Shout out to Powerhouse Hobbs, who sat in the chair with the Sonic Ring and was just watching it all go down. After that, we had Chris Jericho going against Pretty Peter Avalon, which was a short-lived match. We also had Christian Cage with the nice-ass turtleneck come out to talk shit to Jack Perry, calling him Jack instead of Jungle Boy. And he was talking some mad shit. Listen, I'm a fan. Heel Christian just being smug and just being a straight up asshole. We had the lights go out, which confused me because I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't House of Blacks, John. Then we see the video appear on the Titantron. I'm like, why do we have the lights go out or something like that? Why couldn't we just have music play and the video comes on? You see Jungle Boy digging a grave. And I was like, yo, if they about to introduce a fucking Buried Alive match, I'm done. Like, I'm not tuning into Revolution if that's where we're going. But he was digging a grave and stuff like that. And then it reveals a tombstone that says Christian Cage. And I'm like, okay. Like, I think I get what the message is. He's going to bury Christian's career or something like that. But we could have had him say something. Like, I don't know why we had to have the 1991 Undertaker vintage vignettes out here with the dig in the grave. Like, I fully expected Jungle Boy to roll his eyes in the back of the head and say rest in peace. And then, have, I don't know, Luchasaurus or some shit like that come up and be like, oh, yes. Or, say, oh, I have a degree. The things that he does. Some of the build, like, I do like Christian's promos. His promos is like so good. So then after that, we had Hook going against Matt Hardy. Very interesting match because it's not that often that we see Hook like really selling to someone. Normally he's very dominant. So I appreciate the fact that we are letting Hook, kind of sell a bit, that he's not just bulldozing through every damn body. But Matt Hardy then, quote unquote, tapped out because the stipulation is if Hook was to win the match, then Hook would be going against Stokely Hathaway next week on Dynamite. And of course that was shown because then Matt Hardy sat there with a smile on his face. Now I don't know if it was this match or if it was the Big Bill match. Stokely Hathaway did a bitch slap to someone with the cast on. That cracked me up as well. Then we had the match between Riho. Remember her? She, very popular women's champion that, very over. Then suddenly she disappeared. She was going against Toni Storm. Of course, this was nothing but just the, setup with the triple threat match that is happening between Saraya, Ruby, Soho, and Jamie Hayter. Everyone's a hater. Haters are going to hate. It just really... I know there are some people who likes this because at least the women are getting storyline. But it just really feels like Soho is going to be the third man, just like Hulk Hogan was the third man to NWO. But like I said with this Omos and Brock Lesnar, I'll wait it out. I'm gonna see what this match is going to look like. This may be a good match, and I'll come back here next week saying that it was a good match. Or, it would be what it would be. It's just a little upsetting that, we have talent. They have talented women in this division. It's just that they're not being given the attention. Like, this isn't being booked like Britt Baker. You know what I mean? Now Britt Baker is kind of like just there. But it's like Britt Baker needs something else to do as well, unless she is injured or something that we don't know about. I mean, the only other storyline we have going is Jade Cargill and Red Velvet, but that's on Rampage. Like, that rarely comes onto Dynamite. And I could be missing something. I think that's the only storyline in the women's division going. Yeah, I think that's it. And then we had the Tag Team Battle Royale, which was very Royal Rumble-esque. This had now I thought this would have a Joker. Now I did see that the best friends Chuck Taylor and Trent Barella were not cleared, and then Orange Cassidy and Danhausen announced themselves in it. But I thought this match had a Joker to it. Apparently not. So I thought FTR was coming back to this match, and they didn't. And then I saw the Lucha Bros, and I was like, damn, I wish they would win, but I know that they're not. And I saw the Blackpool Combat Club, and I said, they might win, but I don't think they not, because it's as of right now, it's the Acclaimed, the Gun Club, Jeff Jarrett, and Jay Lethal against whoever wins here. And I wasn't really prepared for Danhausen and Orange Cassidy win. Now, the match may turn out to be, like I said, Orange Cassidy is pretty talented. The match could turn out pretty good. The tag team 4-way match could turn out pretty good. But I don't know. It's just like, I was shocked that the Lucha Bros were eliminated. So was the crowd. But you know what? I really shouldn't complain that much, because it is some tag teams who are getting a chance to shine. The Gun Club and the Acclaimed, who's going in there with veterans like Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett, and now with the popular the popular wrestlers that will get eyes on this match, like Danhausen and Orange Cassidy. So I'm going to assume that is the booking. That's the reason for that booking, but who knows? So then we have here the promo MJF and Bryan Danielson going against each other. And I mentioned how the reasoning behind MJF, his motivation behind this one was kind of like back and forth. Like, it's not consistent as how he has been, these past couple of months when he was chasing the title. Bryan Danielson was pretty good in this promo, sitting there telling him, which was bleeped out, because you can only say fuck but so many times, that I'm going to kick your fucking head in. Which the fans then wanted to chant, but you can't really chant as well. And then, of course, Bryan Danielson bringing in the fact that he is the best wrestler in the world, and that MJF hates him because of that. My thing is, and let me get into my reactions now, and I will start with, I'll start from the bottom and then work my way up, and then I would give my opinion. This storyline. This is it's a good storyline. It just was a bit like the motivations behind MJF wanting to win and retain the title and stuff like that was a bit back and forth. But let me get into my predictions. So, like I said, no Jade Cargill so far on this pay-per-view, which I'm sad, because I would love to see what her cosplay would be. Normally she asks the fans, like, who should I cosplay as? And people give suggestions, and she knocks that shit out the park. Now, I'm going to assume that maybe Jade Cargill versus Red Velvet may happen. Probably may be announced at the Rampage. But I'm just going to go off of the matches that are already announced. we have the no holds barred match, Christian Cage going against Jungle Boy. I would like for Christian Cage to win here, but I feel like we may be wrapping up this story because Christian Cage have gotten injured. It made the storyline feel a lot longer than what it really was. But I'm going to go with Jungle Boy here. I'm guessing with Sean the Grave and stuff like that, maybe Christian Cage, get messed up and then he just takes a couple of days or weeks off or something. But that's how I'm going to kick it here. Next up for the Trios Championship, we have the Elite going against the House of Black. There could have been a very compelling story because on Dynamite, we had the Elite come out as if they was about to wrestle, and then the lights go out during their entrance, and then the lights come back up. You see the House of Black behind them. The lights go back out again, then it comes back on. You see the Elite beat up on the ground with House of Black holding the titles. And then the lights go out, and, that's that. And it's like, we're on the go-home show for this pay-per-view. Like, that attack there felt like the start of the feud, not the, ending, coming to the finish of it. Like, I wish we could have had, something more. Like, you could have had the Elite out there and then maybe send Julia Hart out there to kind of say something face-to-face to the Young Bucks. Or even had the Young Bucks, wrestle and, she comes out and wanders, something like that. And then have something to do with them. I mean, we had the hints and stuff that House of Black was going after the Young Bucks, but it was we never really had something more of substance. This is dream booking, something that Tony Khan is very good at. He's very good at dream booking, but it feels like there's not really a solid story here. This feels very similar to Moxley versus Kingston, which was more dream booking, but then we found out how much they knew each other, talking about I made a promise to your mom and stuff like that, and it got real with the promo for the go home show. I really wish that we had this story drawn out a little more, not not Hangman Page more, but just a little bit more. The thing is with this dream booking, it worked very well early in the promotion. When AEW first started, we really didn't have the weekly shows and stuff like that. The dream booking worked. Even within the first year of AEW Dynamite, the dream booking worked because it's like, oh wow, we have such and such going against such and such. Now it's kind of like we need a little bit more substance. We need a reason to tune in to these shows every single week. And AEW kind of has a bit more difficulty on their hands because their pay-per-views are drawn out a lot more. So if you want to have, a story, it either has to last for those couple of months until the next pay-per-view. But by that time, because the way WWE operates, people are kind of get a little bit, sour about it, especially if there isn't another layer to it. It could be that we're so used to the pay-per-views every month, we're so used to not having these stories drawn out. Because truthfully, with WWE, this Bloodline storyline is one of the longest storylines that they have done in a while. And I could be completely wrong. Just off the top of my head, this Bloodline / Tribal Chief storyline was the longest that they have done. That was good, I should say. So it could be that we're just so used to having stories last for a month or two. Rarely 3 months, but maybe a month or two or something like that. AEW, these are lasting for 3-4 months. Well, like I said, I don't want them to do everything is a storyline like WWE, but I feel like there were some missed opportunities. For example, Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill has been booked in matches. There's not really there is the story between her and Red Velvet. But even with that, there wasn't really a lot of attention on it. Red Velvet was there and she was cool and stuff like that. And the next thing you know, out of nowhere, she just slightly starts turning on her. Dropping hits that she's turning. The most compelling storyline that Jade Cargill was involved in was actually when Nyla Rose has stole the title. And because they got rid of the rating system, it was people getting title shots that normally appears on Dark or Dark Elevation. So it's who the hell is this person that's suddenly getting a title shot? I think I kind of went off on a tangent, but With the Elite and the House of Black, I feel as though this is going to be a pretty good match. This is going to be a bit hard-hitting and stuff like that. I just wish that this feud had... I wish that the build-up for this feud was a hell of a lot better. I would love for the House of Black to win here. I have a feeling, though, that that the Elite is going to retain. But if the House of Black wins, I'm all for it. So next up, we have the Women's World Championship. Jamie Hayter, Saraya versus Ruby Soho. I have a sneaky feeling that Saraya may win here to put the title on her. But I'm going to stick with Jamie Hayter on here because I drink the Haterade and it's good. You know, I like the... You know, sometimes I like to mix my Kool-Aids, my Haterades, you know, the cherry, you kind of put the cherry and the lemonade together to make the cherry lemonade type of situation. But the Haterade's good, you know. I'm a hater, and I hope she retains. So next up, we have Chris Jericho going against Ricky Starks with JS banned from ringside. I feel like this is like maybe a prime example for someone to come out and be on the side of Chris Jericho. Like, I really feel that happening. But I'm still going to go with Ricky Starks to win here. Mainly because so we can just like stop with this feud between these two. Not saying I have like an issue with it, but I need Ricky Starks to win the title already. But unfortunately, he doesn't have a crew, so he can't go after the tag team or the trios title. The TNT belt, there's a line for it. And in the World Championship, there's a line for it as well. I just want Ricky Starks to be champion. That's all. So after that, we have the TNT Championship, Samoa Joe versus Wardlow. And I was going Samoa Joe all the way until fucking Wardlow had that interview. And he mentioned how he wore his hair long because of his dad to keep in memory of him. And then Samoa Joe cut it. And I was like, damn it. I'm going to have Wardlow win here. Which I don't want because I would like for Powerhouse Hobbs to win the belt. Can't really do that if Wardlow... You can't have... I know they're not going to have Wardlow as transitional champion, so I feel like Wardlow's going to win. What they could do here is have Samoa Joe win, right? Fuck up Wardlow afterwards. Then we have Samoa Joe versus Powerhouse Hobbs on Dynamite. Wardlow comes in, distracts Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe loses the title. We continue the feud between Samoa Joe and Wardlow, and Powerhouse Hobbs wins the title. That's how we should do that. Somebody tweet that to Tony Khan, because I know he listens to fans. So I'm gonna go with Samoa Joe on that one, just for that logic. Even though I feel like it's gonna be Wardlow, but damn it, I don't. My heart of hearts don't want me to pick Wardlow because I want Powerhouse Hobbs to win the title, and I feel like can't do that if Wardlow's champ. I know it's going to be Wardlow winning, but I'm just going to choose Samoa Joe just because of my reasons. So after that, we have a Texas Death Match, Jon Moxley versus Hangman Adam Page. I wonder if DraftKings is doing the betting for this pay-per-view. If so, I hope they have a bet on there of the over and under of Jon Moxley, how many minutes it will take before Jon Moxley starts bleeding. I feel like he's going to start bleeding within the first 5 minutes, 7 tops. Don't know how Renee does it. More blood have come out of that man more than a damn Red Cross blood drive. Like, he could feed like 50 vampires with the amount of blood he has shed just in this past week. I know this is going to be a brutal match. This is going to be one of those matches that we're going to come back and be like, you know what? That move that they did, that was pretty fucked up. That looked like that hurt. Now I'm going to go with Hangman Adam Page here. I feel like this was pretty good booking between these two as well. But I feel like we're going to have Hangman Adam Page here win, get the last laugh, and then, I mean, I don't know if they're going to continue this feud, how much bigger we can get with this match outside of a Texas Death Match. Like, what is the next step? There is no Hell in a Cell or anything like that, so I'm going to say that a Texas Death Match is kind of equivalent to the Hell in a Cell in AEW, where, you know, this is the height of the feud. This is about as much as you're going to get. So next up, we have the World Tag Team Championship. We have the Guns versus the Acclaimed versus Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett versus Orange Cassidy and Danhausen. Funny thing is, I would like for Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett to win the titles just to see the chaos that they would cause as champions. I not understanding why the Acclaimed used their rematch clause to enter into a fatal 4-way tag team match instead of just saying we'll face the winners of this match the following Dynamite. But I guess you gotta get on the pay-per-view to get the big bucks. I'm going to say that the Guns retain here. I know it was crazy booking the Guns to win the titles, but I'm going to have some faith that this is leading to something good and productive. And I feel like they're going to retain here. Because I thought there was going to be transitional champions for, Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett maybe, or even FTR, which people thought was going to be entered into the Casino Battle Tag Team Battle Royale. But we have no FTR. So I'm going to assume that the Guns retain here, and we're going to continue the feud between, the Guns, the Acclaim, and Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. So then we come to the 60-minute Iron Man match for the World Championship. And I'm going to be 100% honest with y'all. I don't know if I'll be able to take a 60-minute Iron Man match with MJF in it. Now, MJF is very good as far as character work and stuff like that. He wrestles like one of those people from the 80s. And I don't know if I could take the 60-minute Iron Man match. Of course, hearing the 60-minute Iron Man match definitely brings me back to, Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart and Stone Cold. Here's the thing. I want Bryan Danielson to win the title. However, it's like MJF is an AEW original. I mean, he has had the title for about 6 months at this point, and the shortest reign was Hangman Adam Page, who had the title for 6 months. And to be completely 100% honest with MJF as champion, the ratings have gone down. So it's not like, oh, we need an original to, not really original, but we need like our top heel to be champion, and people will tune in from there. I appreciate MJF. I like Bryan Danielson. Going to be a tough one because I definitely see MJF retaining here. I don't know where they would go from there. Of course, people feel like CM Punk is returning and stuff like that, and that he may return to challenge MJF for the title. But I'm gonna do it, and like they say, fuck it, we'll do it live. I'm going with Bryan Danielson. I feel like he should win the title, and I feel like the show, as far as who he would go against, like MJF is very good on the mic and stuff like that. There are a few times where he comes off like a one-trick pony. It's like, is he going, like, I could see MJF cheating to win or to get a point. And I'm going to assume that the story is going to be that Bryan Danielson is a real pro wrestler, and that's why he won. But I wouldn't be surprised if MJF went here. Now, I feel like overall, this is going to be a good pay-per-view. It's just, I don't know how much time we're going to have because the one match is 60 minutes. And it's like, even if we I was about to say even if we get 15 minutes for the others, but it's like, don't really give short matches with AEW. Not really like that on pay-per-view, I should say. So this bad boy can go on for like 3 or 4 hours. And this is on a Sunday. And people got to go to work in the morning like yours truly. So fingers crossed that this ends on a good hour. Fingers crossed. But that's it for the Wrestlebread podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Follow me on Twitter at JDC137. That's JAYDE, the letter C137. You can also follow the podcast at Wrestlebread as well on Twitter. Click the links in the bio for the Facebook, the Instagram, the TikTok, and the YouTube channel. I did do a few TikToks, which, I thought it was pretty funny, including one for Jade Cargill. Be on the lookout for the YouTube channel. I'm going to work on a series about wrestling matches that nobody really talks about. Everybody remembers, always see the Andre the Giant versus Hulk Hogan and The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock, Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar, the Daniel Bryan main event match, and so many more. But there are matches out there that nobody really talks about, or matches that people don't really remember. Like, for example, for WrestleMania 13, we had the Nation of Domination going against the Legion of Doom along with Ahmed Johnson. Or, people remember the Michael Cole versus Jerry Lawler, but, I'll go into more detail on it. Or the match between Lex Luger and Mr. Perfect at WrestleMania 9, Mr. T versus Roddy Piper at Mania 2, the Rooster versus Bobby Heenan, WrestleMania 5. So just matches that not a lot of people talk about, that WWE don't really highlight as much either, that I will either give a reaction to it, watch maybe a clip or something like that, give a reaction to it, and then talk about it as well. I'm also going to do, I don't know when I'm going to release it, but shout out to Wrestle Talk. They did something called, pretty much like WrestleMania in 3 words or fewer. And they put in their description the list of wrestlers, and you kind of give your prediction of what their WrestleMania is going to be. I'm planning to do that as well. So I took the roster that they have listed, and I'm going to do my own as well. It'll be more likely on YouTube, but it may be in a few TikToks as well. So be on the lookout for that. Also, shout out to the newly formed Bloodline Entertainment Network. You can go on Twitter at the Bloodline ENT. You can also subscribe to their YouTube channel as well. And be on the lookout. They got some very exciting things coming along. Not only just covering wrestling, but they plan on covering other sports, MMA, NFL, NBA, baseball, fantasy football, and a lot more. So definitely check them out. So coming up next week, it will be my reaction to Revolution, and I will get more into my review over the fallout from AEW Revolution with Dynamite and the continued road to WrestleMania with Raw and SmackDown as well. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know how you feel about Revolution. Is there a match that you're excited for? How do you feel about, the booking wise as well for this pay-per-view? Do you feel as though this pay-per-view was booked strongly leading up or not? And the reasons why as well. Thank you so much for listening. And until next time, peace and bye-bye, bitch.